Welcome students. Students, in our previous class, we were discussing about food security in India. There, we had discussed about the availability of food grains at the country level, through a system designed by the government of India. The system has two components. One is your buffer stock, another is your public distribution system. What buffer stock is? Buffer stock is the stock of food grains, namely wheat and rice, procured by the government of India through the Food Corporation of India, that is your FCI. That is what we have discussed in our previous class. Students, today we are going to discuss about the next component, that is your public distribution system. Now the question is, what is public distribution system? The food procured by the FCI is distributed through government regulated ration shops among the poorer section of the society. This is what called public distribution system. Here, whatever the food, that is namely wheat, rice, that is procured by the Food Corporation of India, that is distributed through government regulated ration shops. The ration shops are regulated by the government of India, and that is only for the poorer section of the society. That system is known as public distribution system. Here, all the ration shops are present in most of the localities, villages, towns and cities. And these ration shops are also known as fare shops. And these fare shops or ration shops keep stock of food grains, sugar, kerosene, oil for cooking, which is particularly given to the people, particularly the poorer section of the society, at a price lower than the market price. Is compared to the market price, the price of all these items, wheat, rice, sugar, kerosene and cooking oil, are cheaper, so that the poorer section of the society, they could buy this product. Any family, now the question is that who are having the ration cards? Any family with the ration card can buy stipulated amount of these ration items every month from the nearly ration shops. Family, those who are having the ration card, they are only allowed to purchase this amount of products from the government regulated ration shops, that is, they are nearly to their home. So, they can purchase all these items from the ration shops at a lower price. You see the image, how the people are in the queue at the ration shop for purchasing items like wheat, rice, all these are there. This is also image of that. Now, what is this ration card? Generally, there are three kinds of ration cards. First one, Antyodaya cards, that is only for the poorest of the poor. Those who are coming under the categories of poorest of the poor, they are having the Antyodaya cards. Second category is BPL, below poverty line. BPL cards for the people, those who are coming under the below poverty line. And the third categories of ration card is APL, that is your above poverty line. That is the card for all others. Those who are not so rich. APL means those who are not so rich but not so are poor also. So these three categories of cards, ration cards are there. One is your Antyodaya cards for the poorest of the poor section of the society. Another one is your BPL cards for the people coming under the below poverty line, and third one APL cards. Now, the question is that when this ration card or the system of rationing introduced in India? The answer is that the introduction of rationing in India dates back to the 1940s against the backdrop of the Bengal famine. During the period of 1940, particularly the Bengal famine time, during that period, a ration system has been introduced in India. But later on, this system has been devised and changed in a different way according to the policies designed by the government of India. So, the rationing system was revived in the wake of an acute food shortage during the period of 1960 prior to the Green Revolution. So, this was revised due to the acute shortage of food during the period of 1960, which is prior to the Green Revolution. Keeping this in mind, due to the high incidence of poverty, as it is reported by the NSSO, that is National Sample Survey Office, according to the report of NSSO, in the period of mid-1970, 3 important food intervention programs were introduced during that period of time, keeping the mind in reporting the high incidence of poverty. Try to understand, students, in the wake of high incidence of poverty, as it is reported by NSSO, 3 most important food intervention programs were introduced by the government of India during the period of mid-1970s. Now, what are those 3 food intervention programs? The first one is your Public Distribution System, PDS, for food grains. Second one is your Integrated Child Development Services for the taking care of the children below the age of 6 to 6. And the third category is Food for Work, FFW. So, these 3 important food intervention programs were introduced during the period of mid-1970. First one is your PDS, another one is your Integrated Child Development Services, and third one is your Food for Work. Now, over the years, several new programs have been launched and some have been restructured with the growing experience. At the passage of time, now new programs were also introduced or launched by the government according to the experience what it has gained in the last few years, that is from the period of 1940 to 1970s. So, over these years, many new programs were also launched and some of the programs were restructured also. At present, there are several poverty alleviation programs have been launched by the government of India, particularly in the rural areas, because the government want to ensure that no people would go to bed without food. Keeping this in mind, several poverty alleviation programs have been launched. The National Food Security Act of 2013. This act provides for food and nutritional security life at affordable prices and enable people to live a life with dignity. In order to enrich the life, that is the dignity of the individual, particularly the poorest section of the society, the government has passed an act, that is the National Food Security Act of 2013, in order to provide nutritious food to the people at affordable prices. Under this act, 75% of rural population, 75% of rural population and 50% of urban population have been categorized as eligible households for food security, in order to cover both the rural area as well as the urban areas. That is why this act has incorporated both the categories of people, that is the rural area also and the urban area also. 75% of the people in the rural area and 50% of the urban population has been categorized as eligible households for food security. Now, what is the current status of public distribution system? We'll discuss now this important part. Public distribution system, that is PDS, is the most important steps taken by the Government of India towards ensuring food security. It is one of the most important steps taken by the Government of India for providing food security to the larger section of the society in India. In the beginning, the coverage of PDS was universal. Universal means with no discrimination between the poor and the non-poor. That to understand, no discrimination between the poor and the non-poor. So that is what universal system. But over the years, the policy has been changed. The policy has been revised to make it more efficient and targeted. That is what in 1992, revamped public distribution system RPDS was introduced in 1700 blocks in the country. Revamped public distribution system RPDS was introduced in 1700 blocks. The target was that to provide the benefit of the PDS to remote and backward areas. Under this scheme, RPDS scheme, the target was to provide benefits of the public distribution system to the remote and backward areas of the country. That was in 1992. From June 1997, another scheme was introduced. Targeted Public Distribution System, TPDS. Targeted Public Distribution System, TPDS, was introduced to adopt the principle of targeting the poor in all areas. That to understand, it has the target to include the poorest section of the society in all the areas. That is under the scheme of Targeted Public Distribution System. And it was for the first time that a differential price policy was adopted for the poor and the non-poor. That to understand, earlier universal system was there without any discrimination between the poor and non-poor. But now under this PTPDS scheme, Targeted Public Distribution Scheme, now differential price policy was introduced. One price for the poor section of society, another price for the non-poor section of the society. Further, in 2000, two special schemes were launched. That is Antyodaya Anna Yojana AAY and the Arnapunna scheme APS. In the year 2000, two more schemes were launched by the Government of India. That was Antyodaya Anna Yojana AAY and the Annapunna scheme APS. And here the target was to include the groups of people, that is the poorest of the poor and indigent senior citizens. Indigent citizens means those who are very needy. So this to cover to this section of the society, poorest of the poor and indigent senior citizens, looking into their target, in order to provide the facility to these categories of people, the Government of India introduced two more schemes in the year 2000. That was your Antyodaya Anna Yojana and the Annapunna scheme. Now, what that Antyodaya Anna Yojana is? AAY, that is Antyodaya Anna Yojana, was launched in December 2000. And under this scheme, 1 crore of the poorest among the BPL family. BPL means below poverty line. The poorest among the BPL families covered under the Targeted Public Distribution System TPDS were identified. Under this scheme, 1 crore of the poorest section of the society covered under the targeted public distribution system were identified by the respective state rural development department, that is through a below poverty line survey. Through this BPL survey, the respective state rural development departments will identify the people, those who are coming under the poorest of the poor section of the society, and they were included under the scheme come Antyodaya Anna Yojana. What is the facility here? 25 kilogram of food grains were made available to each family at a highly subsidized rate of rupees 2 per kilogram of wheat and rupees 3 per kilogram of rice. What is the cost? You see, subsidized price, that is far below than the market price, far lower than the market price. That is rupees 2 per kilogram of wheat and rupees 3 per kilogram of rice under the Antyodaya Yojana. And this quantity has been enhanced from 25 kilogram to 35 kilogram with effect from April 2002. The scheme was introduced in 2000. It was 25 kilogram. But by the end of the April 2002, the quantity has been increased from 25 kilogram to 35 kilogram. And at the time the target was to include 1 crore people. Now 2 crore family have been covered under the Antyodaya Anna Yojana. This is what about the Antyodaya Anna Yojana. Now the most important point is some important features of PDS, that is your public distribution system. The first important point is the PDS has proved to be the most effective instrument of government policy over the years in stabilizing prices and making food available to consumer at affordable prices. The PDS system, public distribution system, has been a important tools in the hand of the government of India to provide food facility to the consumer at affordable prices. At the same time, it has been instrumental in averting widespread hunger and famine by supplying food from surplus region of the country to the deficit ones. You might have known that many of the people in different part of the country, they are going to bed without food. And through this scheme, through this public distribution system, this can be avoided. That is was the target of the government of India. And it has been proved also. Through this scheme, public distribution scheme, the government has got success to avert widespread hunger and famine, particularly by supplying the food to the regions of the country which are deficit one. And it has been made possible by supplying food from the surplus region to the deficit ones, so that no people could go to bed without food. However, though the system has got much more credibility or importance, still the public distribution system has faced severe criticism on several grounds. Because the instances of hunger prevalent despite overplaying granaries. Though the government has made effort to provide food facility to the people at a lower prices through this public distribution system, still it has some lacunas, problem faced, and that was the first problem is the PDS dealers resort to malpractices as diverting grains in the open market for better margins. PDS dealers, those who have got the power or the facility to provide food grains to the people by the government of India, those PDS dealers resort to malpractices. How they are doing all these things? By diverting the grains in the open market. Because through this, they are selling these goods or food grains at higher prices, so that they will gain more benefit instead of giving all these things to the people, those who are coming from the poorest section of the society. So this is what the malpractices. Then corruption, black marketing and improper distribution of grains are also rampant in PDS. Black market is going on. It has been reported that ration shop closed for buyers also. In different places of our country, ration shops are also closed for buyers. So what they are doing? When the ration shops are closed for buyers, they are diverting all those food grains to open market, and they are getting more benefit from that. That is why ration shops are closed in different parts of our country. It is common to find that ration shops regularly have unsold stocks of poor quality of grains left. Sometimes it is also reported that all these ration shops regularly have unsold stocks of poor quality grains. The good quality of grains were sold in the open market. That is the malpractices they are doing. But what about the rest of the food grains? That is kept in the ration shops. And selling of unsold poor quality grains, this is another problem for the government of India because of this malpractices being done by the PDS dealers. Now, we'll discuss about role of cooperatives in food security. Prior to this, we are discussing about the government policies to eradicate food insecurity in the country. Now, we'll discuss about the role of cooperatives in food security. The cooperatives are also playing an important role in food security in India, particularly in the southern and western part of the country. Along with the government policies, the cooperatives are also playing an important role in providing food security in India, particularly in the southern and western parts of our country. How they are doing? The cooperative societies set up shops to sell low-priced goods to poor people. All these cooperative societies, they are selling different types of food grains, goods, you can say, that is very lower price, at the nominal price, you can say, to the poor people. For example, out of all fair price shop running in Tamil Nadu, around 94% are being run by the cooperatives. Out of the total number of ration shops, that is fair price shop, you can say, which is there in Tamil Nadu at present, 94% of fair price shops are being run by the cooperatives. In Delhi, Mother Dairy is making strides in the provision of milk and vegetables to the consumer at controlled rate decided by the government of Delhi. Like that in Tamil Nadu, in Delhi also, the Mother Dairy is also working to provide milk and vegetable to the consumer at the price that has been controlled or decided by the government of Delhi. You see the logo of Mother Dairy. It is the cooperatives working in Delhi, that is the under the government of Delhi, and providing different goods, particularly milk and vegetable, to the people at a price fixed by the government of Delhi. Like that, Amul. It is known to everybody else. Amul is another success story of cooperatives in milk and milk products from Gujarat. And this cooperative society, Amul, has brought white revolution in the country. It is a renowned name inside our country. This is, you see the Amul plant in Gujarat. In this way, cooperative societies are most helpful, provide food security to the people in different parts of our country. These are few examples of many more cooperatives running in different part of the country, ensuring food security of different section of the society. Similarly, in Maharashtra, Academy of Development Science ADS, Academy of Development Science ADS has also facilitated a network of NGOs for setting up grain banks in different regions. The Academy of Science is working with the different NGOs, particularly in the state of Maharashtra, for setting up grain banks. Grain banks are also set up by these NGOs through the Academy of Development Science. At the same time, ADS organizes training and capacity building programs on food security for the NGOs. The ADS also organizing training and capacity building programs for these NGOs to provide various opportunity to the people to on the case of food security. Grain banks are now slowly taking shape in different parts of Maharashtra. As a part of the ADS program, grain banks are set up and it is full-fledgedly working on in different parts of Maharashtra. That is why the ADS grain bank program is acknowledged as a successful and innovative food security intervention in Maharashtra, and it is a model for different parts of our country also. Students, today we have completed all those parts of the food security in India. With this, the chapter has come to an end. Now, I am going to test you or ask you some questions regarding the topics what we have discussed today. The first question is, state any two limitation of public distribution system. State any two limitation of public distribution system. The answer is, the two limitation of public distribution systems are malpractices by the PDS dealer and irregular opening of shops. This is the most important part. Malpractices by the PDS dealer and irregular opening of shops. Second question for you. Mention the names of any three cooperative society. Mention the names of any three cooperative society working in different states of India. The answer is Mother Dairy in Delhi, Amul in Gujarat, Academy of Development Science in Maharashtra. These are the name of three major cooperative society working in different parts of India. The last question for you. When was rationing system introduced in India? When was rationing system introduced in India? The answer to the question is, the rationing system introduced in India in 1940s after the disastrous famine of Bengal. That was in the period of 1940s. So students, with these questions, this chapter, Food Security in India, came to an end. Thank you.